Good evening, everyone. My name is Noah Isaacs, and that intro video you watched of Muhammad Ali, that was his tribute video from when he retired back in the day. And I didn't want you to focus more on the video, just more on the song that was playing in the background. The song is called Forever Young by Alphaville. And that song really capitalizes the point of living young forever and just living forever in general, a common desire by mostly everyone in the world. And this song ties into a novel I've been reading called The Picture of Dorian Gray. And one of the biggest themes in this book is basically living forever as a desire. Other concepts that are in this book that I found are homoeroticism, the value of youth and beauty, art, and the negative influence on others, or just influence in general. But the two main concepts I want to talk about are the youth and beauty one and influence, as I found them the biggest portion, like the most critical theme of the story that shapes how the story goes.
This is me.
What the hell happened?
I stopped doing my beauty regimen.
And started her ugly regimen. You boys keep me young.
You don't know what it takes for me to look good. After you leave for work, I do the treadmill until I throw up. Then I go to my hairdresser where I get my roots touched up, followed by a lunch of iced tea and laxatives. Then I wax my arms, legs, and eyebrows while power lifting the couch to tone the fanny you love so much. Hello?
Hey, beautiful.
And I also stopped wearing my retainer.
Why are you doing this?
Stan, we've been married for 20 years, and all this time you've only appreciated me for my looks? I need you to love me for who I am on the inside.
Now, that clip was from the TV show called American Dad, and it was just a funny clip I wanted to show you, because it showed how much the husband, Stan, valued his wife's beauty so much that's all he cared about, and didn't even pay attention to her personality at all. And how much her, the woman, Francine, she cared about her beauty so much, she would go through all of that in one day just to maintain it. And this ties into the story of Dorian Gray, as he only longed for his beauty, and that's what his only desire was in the story. This made a long-lasting impression on me because I am currently at the age where youth is something that I deeply possess. I didn't really realize this before I started reading the story and got the message. This book showcased how much one will do to own this, as we can see what Dorian goes through, the things he does, and the things he does in closing to keep it. Most people in this world find their beauty through their youth, like Dorian does, and Lord Henry. Personally, I started to see this as an advantage in my life, as I never often lived out with my youth. I personally found myself shaving my face more often, actually, because I found it would make me look a couple months younger, and anything to make me look younger would be an advantage in my life. Some quotes that really struck me, one of many quotes that they used in this book to exhibit this concept, was when Lord Henry was persuading Dorian to keep his youth, when he said, "Because you have the most marvelous youth, and youth is the one thing worth having," which goes back to the value of youth, and the youth through beauty. Another thing is when the narrator said, Dorian was thinking of, this was in the context, when Dorian was thinking about making his wish to have everlasting youth. The narrator explains he would become ignoble, hideous, and uncouth when he gets older and he loses his youth, because all of his beauty comes from his youth. And lastly, The narrator explains why should Dorian care about the hideous corruption within his soul as his self-portrait changes. He kept his youth. That was enough. As that's the final closing thing for our quote. As it just shows how much the narrator, how much this book wants the reader to know how much the value of youth is within the society.
Hi there! See anything you like?
Oh, I'm just browsing.
Say, you look like you could use an activity book with half the activities done.
Wow, that would save me half the time.
Connect the dots? Ha! More like set the book down and have a beer.
You got yourself a deal.
Uh-oh, Spadoodios.
I notice your kid is having some trouble.
You're telling me.
Ah, your kid just needs a little help. I got something that'll get him going.
Well, if there's anyone I can trust, it's a stranger at the gym holding a dirty needle. Here, Stewie, try this.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
Answered my question. Why the hell does Stewie look like this?
Well, I took him to the gym, and the colorful gent there advised me that I put him on steroids.
And you listen to him?
Yeah, I believe everything everyone tells me anywhere.
Now, that clip those compilations of clips I just showed were all from the TV show Family Guy. Actually, it's the same creator as the American Dad clip was before. And this concept right here is influence. This made a lasting impression on me because it showed how dangerous one person's influence can be and how it can ruin the lives of others. Like we saw in that clip, Peter he's an airhead. He doesn't care what anyone tells him. He'll do it no matter what. It's very easy to influence him. Like that baby example, when that guy told him to give his son steroids and he did it. It's just because of influence. Almost every day, I seek influence from other people. Honestly, I do. Expecting only great things from it. But in this case, there's always going to be not always, but most likely going to be a negative outcome from it. This novel explores the idea of negative impact from influence. In the story, Dorian is introduced as an innocent young man who just wants to live a simple life, but is instantly corrupted from Lord Henry's influence of being forever young, which makes Dorian make his wish to be young forever and changes his soul with the one within the portrait. And not only Lord Henry is the influence in Dorian's life, the yellow books that Dorian read influence him to live his life out with sins no matter what, as this starts to make him smoke opium and robbery and homosexuality. Just some few ones to put it short. So basically the influence can just be a negative all the time. This has now made me think that, it has now made me aware that I have to be careful from who I get my influence from and actually think about it and make sure it's not some stranger that's telling me how to live my life out. And just before we move on to the next section, I just wanted to read off some quotes that will help with you understand within the book of the concept of influence. Of when the narrator explained, "Don't pay attention to what Lord Henry says. He has bad influence all over his friends." Now this could be seen as foreshadowing or self-explanatory as his influence. Another one is, "You only have a few years to which really live," is what Lord Henry actually said to Dorian, which was in his persuasion of making him make his wish. And Lord Henry also exclaimed, "You filled me with a wild desire to know everything about life." Thank you. Now, I just wanted to talk about what benefits one can have with a better understanding of this concept within the book could apply to their actual day-to-day life. And for the Youth and Beauty one, you can really see, if you understand this, the lengths somebody will go to achieve their goal. In saying this, they show a specific monstrosity that you'll never see them ever do only when they want this goal. Now, for example, when Dorian signed a verbal deal with the evil spirit, he committed murder, was responsible for the death of his fiancée, and lied all the time. This can help out one person in their everyday life, as it shows how far someone can go to maintain their goals, and how much their loved ones can mean such little to them, in this little matter of what they want. And now the concept of influence, which we kind of covered before. A better understanding of this can be a benefit of your awareness of the influence you get. So if someone gives you influence, you know not just to take it immediately, but to actually think about it and think about who is giving you influence. If they're the person like Lord Henry, who Basil says never to take influence from, then you should know. The terrible consequences of this was explored throughout the novel too, as being impulsive with his influence is dangerous and led to only horrific things. Consideration must be taken in before execution. Now for one of the final segments, I just want to talk about what I found interesting and what I found challenging within this novel. Now, starting off, I wanted to say I found it interesting how it was the everlasting youth of Dorian that killed him. Prior to reading this book, I would have never thought that being young forever could drive someone insane to make them want to kill themselves. I only thought it could yield positives, since it's such a common desire. But this story showed how dangerous unrealistic wishes can be, and why we as humans are not capable of this type of power, because we'd all end up in the same direction as Dorian Gray. Also, another thing is, I liked how much Oscar Wilde's life, the author, paralleled Dorian Gray in this story. As I was doing research on Oscar Wilde, I came to the realization that him and Dorian share a lot of qualities and traits within their lives. Wilde was suspected of having homosexual relations with his college friend, Frank Miles, who was a painter, and surprisingly in this story, there's a huge homoerotic tension between Dorian and Basil Hallward, as it was never said explicitly that what they did, but Oscar Wilde was actually put in jail. He was convicted of gross indecency, what is actually homosexuality, for what was inside this book. So there were clear messages of homosexuality within this. Now, the one thing I found challenging about this book is it lacked the how answer. It was evident that Dorian wished for his soul to be switched with his portrait's one, but it never explained how did it happen. This made me explore the idea of, was there an evil spirit that made this wish come true? Or was there something that Dorian did to make his wish a reality? Even though this question was not answered but thought by many, I came to the answer that Lord Henry acts such as like a devil in Dorian's ear, as he could be an evil spirit, as he is the one that persuaded Dorian to make this wish, and he is maybe the one that made it come true with his supernatural powers.